Okay, so improving ankle mobility has been a personal journey of mine. And today I want to discuss the one mistake I see everyone doing when they are trying to improve their ankle mobility. And then I will show you the things that you should do to improve your ankle mobility while avoiding that mistake. So a pinching sensation in the front of the ankle or a tight sensation in the front of the ankle might be a sign that your ankle joint mobility is restricted. So if that's the case, then this video is for you. But first, let's talk about the mistake that I see people doing when they are trying to improve their ankle dorsiflexion. When people think about working on their ankle mobility, they think about just placing their foot down anywhere and then just driving their knee forward to stretch out their ankle joint. That's actually wrong, and here is why. Your body is quite smart, and sometimes it is way too smart. Because your ankle has limited ankle dorsiflexion, your body tries to make up for it by moving through your midfoot, the arch of your foot, when you're trying to improve your ankle mobility. So if you just place your foot down to drive the knee forward, you definitely get ankle dorsiflexion here, but it is more than likely that the arch of your foot will also collapse to give you a false sensation that you're driving your knee further forward than it actually is. And this is especially true if your knee drives inwards as you try to drive your knee forward above your toes to improve your ankle dorsiflexion. So let's talk about what you should do to fix this to make sure that you are not compensating with your midfoot when you're trying to stretch your ankle dorsiflexion or your ankle joint. When you're driving the knee forward, when you place the foot down to drive the knee forward to stretch your ankle joint, make sure that you are also driving the knee towards the outside of the fifth toe. I always tell people to aim for the outside of the fifth toe. In a way, that is overcompensating to make sure that you're locking your midfoot in place so that your midfoot doesn't collapse to give you a false sense of more dorsiflexion than you actually have. If you do this correctly, you realize that you have less ankle dorsiflexion than you initially thought before watching this video. Congratulations, you've actually found your true ankle dorsiflexion. So now let me show you the 3 things to do to help improve your true ankle dorsiflexion. The first thing that I like to do to improve my ankle dorsiflexion is to step close to a wall. From here, get the bend just right around the ankle joint. Step forward enough to get a moderate amount of resistance from the bend. Now from here, this is where this step is important. You want to cross your leg over, specifically crossing the leg of the ankle that you're not stretching in front of your back leg, which will be the ankle that you will be stretching. And you want to do this while holding onto the wall. From here, bend both knees and make sure that you're putting most of your weight through the back foot because that's the ankle that we are trying to stretch here. Stepping across your leg like this positions your hips in a way to make it more easier for you, make you more successful at driving the knee towards the outside of the fifth toe to lock out the midfoot like we discussed. Now with both knees bent here to your max range, you can do this a couple ways. You can either hold this position at your max ankle dorsiflexion for 40 seconds to 60 seconds for a couple sets, or you can softly pulse forward and back with your knee at the very end range, and you can do this for about 40 to 60 seconds as well for a couple sets. I personally like to mix it up, but I tend to lean more so towards the pulsing motion at the end range. The second thing that I like to do to improve my ankle dorsiflexion is actually very similar to the first stretch, but I just change up my environment. The difference being that I set myself up on a box here, going through the similar stretch. Again, you can pulse at your end range, back and forth at your end range, or you can choose to hold here for about 40 to 60 seconds for a few sets. Also, always make sure that you are supporting yourself when you're doing this. Okay, now that you've stretched the joint out, here comes what I think is the most important part. And it is what I'm calling feeding the newfound range. To feed your newfound range, pre-position yourself standing on the leg of the ankle that you worked on with the knee driven forward and driven in the direction of the fifth toe. Keep your knee fixed forward as you raise the heel and then as you drop the heel all the way back down with the knee kept forward. This will help feed strength in your new range. This will help feed the Achilles and build a little bit more resilience within your newfound range and get your body used to using that range. You could feel free to go for a couple sets of 10 of this. A fun way that I like to do this, especially if you like to jump rope, is to jump rope with my feet right underneath me while I keep my knees bent at its end range, and then landing on my forefoot and shift my weight to my heel. Again, this will help feed my joint a little bit more, get my brain used to the fact that I'm trying to achieve this range. I'm trying to use this end range that I just worked on. Here's another bonus tip to help you improve your ankle dorsiflexion for the long term. Whenever walking, try to get as much pure hip extension as possible when you're walking, and delay heel lift as much as possible till you get as much hip extension. This will be especially difficult when you're walking uphill, but try to emphasize this when you're walking uphill as best as possible. This will help you utilize the newfound range that you are trying to achieve as much as possible so that you can maintain it for the long term. Just for the simple fact that if you don't use the newfound range, you will lose it. And I think that's where most of us have difficulty improving our ankle dorsiflexion after being very persistent with joint mobility and exercises. The other thing is, be as consistent with this as possible. Set yourself pretty much a 3 months goal to really see the changes for the long term. I think people often give up way too soon and then they don't see changes in their ankle dorsiflexion at all. Be very persistent. I'm going on my own journey, and perhaps if you're interested, I can update you all a few months from now how I am doing with my ankle mobility. Alright, so that's all I have to say. I would definitely appreciate a like if you found value out of this video, and I would love it even more so if I saw you back here again, because I'm trying to build an awesome community that cares about your well-being and the human body. I'll see you all in a few days.